Johannes, work like this with each presentation. Which slide?
Yeah, okay. Anyway.
Yeah, start.
Okay, you already introduced. First of all, good morning to everybody. This summer was my first time in Moldova, and I also had quite some very good impressions and nice visits in certain nurseries. And it was very impressive how good conditions you have to grow fruits in Moldova. So first a little bit about the company. The company was founded as a club with 11 German dendro rootstock producers in 1997 to take over the breeding program, the promising breeding, which was done in Gießen at the university to make cherry production much more interesting and profitable. So the contracts were signed in the 80s, and 1997 all rights were handed over of the complete breeding material from the University of Gießen to the CDB. With only 9 nurseries, we founded a limited company. And the payment for the complete breeding program was given into a foundation, which still is active today, which sponsors young German scientists to work on rootstocks or interaction between rootstock and varieties. The portfolio of the CDB, as you might know, is mostly Gisela. We have 6 different varieties with different vigor types. We also manage the Pico rootstock from Dresden-Pillnitz, the National Fruit Growing Institute in Germany. And we also manage the Vavit Hudom rootstock, which was selected at the Schreiber Nursery in Austria. Pyrodwarf, somebody may know, is a pyrus rootstock with a special property on higher pHs and when winter hardiness is requested, which is from the university in Geisenheim in Germany. Another very interesting rootstock in apple is Malia D2212. It was bred in the 70s in Ahrensburg. This federal institute is closed today. And last but not least, Rephia, 2 pyrus rootstocks, which are peer decline resistant. I will start a little bit on Vavit. Vavit is the trademark and Prud'homme is the variety. This is quite important for us because from the legislative point, it is very important to talk about the trademark and about the variety because this is following the law essential to name the variety correctly and the trademark correctly. Vavit Prud'homme is a selection of Prunus domestica Wangenheim, which is a seedling selection from Poland and Eastern Germany. And it has very good, it has proven to one of the best rootstock we have at the moment in Middle Europe in our conditions for plums, European plums and apricots. It has a very good compatibility to all plums and also to more or less all apricots. Trees on Vavit are very robust, healthy and long living. Vavit is assessed as medium strong and induces less vigor, 10 to 20% than St. Julian I and Brompton. Trees on Vavit normally do not need support. And the demand on growing sites from Prud'homme is very, very low, and it suits to more or less all soils, as well slightly culturous. And of course, I don't have to tell you, more water, more growth. So irrigation is every time advantageous. Vavit Prudhomme is very winter hardy, so it suits very well also to your conditions in Moldova. It also has low and no alternate turning yields, which means you have a very regular yield and excellent uniformity in the nursery, and orchard saves easily if you manage it very good, 15 to 20% of labor, especially in pruning and also later on in picking. It induces very early yields, variety depending, modern varieties from second leaf onward with very good fruit sizes. As I said already, the combination with all varieties and also very fertile and self-fertile varieties is generally very favorable. So for lady cod, for example, this is one example we know, it tends to overhang, so you need to have this in mind. But this is, depending on every variety, but mostly it's very good and no problem. This photo is not very good, but you see a very smooth grafting unit, which is hardly visible. It's like a Prunus domestica. The stem is very, very smooth. And another very big advantage is it tends not to sucker, which is very important because on sucker, you can infect the rootstock via the suckers to any kind of virus. So no suckering is very advantageous. Gisela rootstocks in the first wave, we released Gisela 5, 6, and 3. 5 is well known and widespread and is in Central Europe in moderate climate. Our standard, we compare everything to Gisela 5, which you see later on. Now, Gisela 6 becomes more and more important in the last years. It's a semi-vigorous type, a little bit stronger than Gisela 5. Gisela 3 is the most dwarfing one. It is the most important dwarfing rootstock we have, but the importance is quite low. We are talking about only 0.03% of Gisela 5 worldwide, so it's really unimportant. In the second wave, we released also Gisela 12, 13, and 17. As you can see, I mentioned also the varieties because Gisela again is the trademark and the variety is the number behind. GI 1592 is the variety, GI 14813 is the variety to Gisela 13, and to Gisela 17 accordingly GI 31817. Here's an overview about the vigor. As you can see, Gisela 5 is our standard, and now in many situations due to climate change and to several conditions in replanting, etc., many people change to the little bit more vigorous types, 12, 6, 13, and sometimes also 17. Common advantages of all 6 Gisela rootstocks. In general, we have a very good compatibility, which is very important, is healthy, certified budwood, which you already heard from Peter, which should be standard everywhere. Unfortunately, some nurseries still and other fruit growers still use their own cutting material, but we suggest every time to use healthy material, otherwise you will have problems later on, and very fast you will have problems. Precocity with high productivity, broad adaptability to soil and climatic conditions, flat branching, and broad growth habit, no suckering tendency, excellent winter hardness, tolerance to pollen-borne viruses, which is also very important because what we see all over the world is that pollen-borne viruses are normally spread in cherry growing areas and the orchards are spoiled 75 to 80%. So there is a very high risk to receive pollen-borne virus. And all Giselas, which is also important, are to combine with sour cherries, which might be very interesting for the future because of mechanical harvest in different situations. In general, cultural management of cherries on size-reducing rootstocks is quite important. So that means they have to be adapted to the needs of Gisela rootstocks and are much more intensive than with stronger growing cherries, for example, Prunus avium or Marleb. In general, we say the more dwarfing the clone, the higher the requirements to soil and environment and more intensive the cultural management is. Early starting, regular pruning has to ensure that each year sufficient shoot growth and leaf area are built up to for fruit nutrition. So the optimum is 2.5 to 3 leaves per fruit on a tree. This is a ratio we found out in Germany, which makes the best quality and result for in yield. Additionally, higher and more frequent fertilization compared to trees on conventional rootstocks and irrigation or fertigation is necessary, at least beneficial. So that means you have to bring the fertilizer early in spring, which Peter already explained. You must start prior the flower, prior the growth with a big portion of the first fertigation. With such adapted cultural management, the high productivity of Gisela rootstocks is maintained over many years, and fruit sizes are not negatively influenced, which were earlier reported on smaller fruit sizes. But this has been explained today because in the past many mistakes were done, which I explained before. A short introduction of Gisela 6. It is semi-vigorous, introduces stronger growth, 5 to 10% more than Gisela 5, and also a very early beginning of cropping and high yields. In the Pacific Northwest of the USA, Gisela 6 is the most frequently planted Gisela type. Demands to soil and cultural management are less than Gisela 5. Gisela 6 may have problems on windy sides. Therefore, you need to use trellis and pole it at least. I just want to show a short replant trial, which is done or is still done in Alto Adige in South Tyrol. The question was, are stronger growing rootstocks more suitable than Gisela 5 in replant situations? So in many areas in Europe we have this replant situation, and we know in good conditions Gisela 5 is 2-3 times quite okay, but once the situations are not as good anymore or due to climate change, we see quite some problems already with Gisela 5. So here you see it's in Fragsburg. It's close to Merano, 700 meters high in South Tyrol, and here you can see already the yield after 5 years. And here you see already Gisela 6 is more interesting. It's better than Gisela 5 already. And here you see the yield after 9 years. Maxmar is almost the same when you look at the tree. Here again, the cumulative yield kilogram per tree after 14 years. And here you see the cumulative yield per hectare. And here you see the disadvantage of Maxmar, because with Gisela you can put more trees per hectare, and it's a very interesting overview. And additionally, here you see the fruit sizes. the orange one is Gisela 5, which is quite good. So we are at 29 to 30 millimeters, and with Gisela 6, which has the best fruit size, we are at an average of 30. And again, here you see it compared, as I already said, to Gisela 5, it's 0%. And you see we have more than 30,000 euros per hectare more with Gisela 6. And again, Pico 1 is also very good rootstock, is comparable to Gisela 6. But here you see Maxma has 20% less than almost 20% less than Gisela 5, and then we have 40% less than Gisela 6.
Johannes, you have not so many minutes. You have to be...
Okay, I'm almost ready. So thanks to the team of Leimburg. Okay. What I only want to mention is that currently we see a change in the market, especially in North America. I already mentioned that many people switched to Gisela 6, and in the US we saw in the last 5 years the market share of Gisela 6 and Gisela 12 is now the opposite. 5 years ago it was 25% Gisela 12. Today it's 75, and this is due to they use a lot of self-fertile varieties in the US, and the 12, 13, and 70 are much better with self-fertile varieties than Gisela 6 because the fruit size is better. Gisela 6 is for self-fertile too fruitful. The same for Gisela 13. 17 also, I call every time the easiest Gisela. It's a starter rootstock, which is comparable to Maxma 14. It's a very good anchorage and is quite easy to manage. Pico, as I said, we also manage, but it has some special use. We advise it every time only for really sandy soils, light soils. There it is very good because it does really not like waterlogging. So again, a little bit to this Malia, apple proliferation resistant rootstock. There are some properties indicated. I don't need to talk about all of them. Just to explain a little bit the procedure. So we see that apple proliferation and also pear decline is brought by is a phytoplasma, and by vectors is brought to the leaves in summer, and during winter the phytoplasma goes into the root, and in April, May, when growth restarts, these apple and pear rootstocks avoid that the phytoplasma can climb again into the plant. So you have clean plant material. This we also have for pears, as I said, Refia Virotem 1 and Virotem 2. And yeah, I'm at the end. Grazie mille, spasiba. And of course, if there are some questions, I'll be open to answer. This year we signed a license agreement with VitroHub in Moldova. They have the license to produce Gisela 5 and 6 and Vavit, Kudom. So, and for all others, please get in touch. I can bring you in touch with suppliers of all the other rootstocks, and all this information you also find on our webpage.
Thank you, Johannes.
Which you find here on the bottom.